Greetings all, I'm very excited today to be interviewing a producer from Bulgaria called Zoya who is up to big things. She's got releases on Cold Harbour and Anjunabeats and has worked with Marcus Schultz and DJed around the world, including venues such as Ministry of Sound in London. In our conversation today, we go into lots of interesting stuff like how she got started, the highlights of her career so far, and the struggles she's faced and how she's overcome them, including dealing with online hate, self-doubt, and the importance of a supportive community. She also shares some of her production and workflow tips which you can use to start producing music more quickly. So without further ado, let's meet Zoya. Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you for joining us. We are with Zoya today, who's a DJ and producer with releases on Cold Harbour, Blackhole, Anjuna, and who's DJ at the Ministry of Sound with Marcus Schultz. And you've actually got a remix of Marcus Schultz, haven't you?
Yes, that's correct. Hi, Will.
Hi, Zoya. And Zoya and I actually worked together. Zoya joined the Accelerator a couple of years ago, so it's really nice to connect and see how she's been getting on. But we've got some interesting questions to get through today about both your productions and your DJing and your career in general. So for anyone who hasn't experienced your music yet, how would you describe your DJ sets and your productions?
So first of all, hi to everyone. Thank you very much for having me today. As you mentioned, I'm a music producer and a DJ, and I'm mostly into the progressive house melodic techno genre. I started with trance music more than 11 years ago, and eventually I transitioned to slower stuff, and now I'm playing around 122, 125 BPM sets, which people take really well, and the feedback so far has been great.
Yeah, I've seen some great sets that you've posted up on YouTube. You played at Groove Cruise this year as well. I can't remember if I mentioned that a minute ago, but that was alongside people like Tiesto, and was Eric Prydz there as well?
Eric Prydz will be next year. This year I play alongside Marcus Schultz, Tiesto, Diplo, John Summit, Alien Fila, Gabriel and Dresden, and many more amazing artists. So this was a really great experience, both from professional side and also my personal experience, because I met these people in person. With some of them I have been talking on social media, WhatsApp, Twitch, Instagram for a while, and eventually we met in person, which was really cool.
That's amazing. That sounds like a dream for most DJs and producers out there. But I know that you've been working really hard on your career. So why don't you give us a little bit of a background as to how you got into music production and DJing, and what that journey, like what's drawn you into it at the beginning, and then what your journey has been like?
Well, I started years ago when I was 17. I was studying opera and piano, and eventually I discovered electronic music, but at that time I was just writing songs and singing, mostly writing for other people, and it was more like a hobby. I didn't think it will go that far. So I took a break for a while because my parents insisted that I study something serious, and I was studying economics. And eventually I did a song just for fun. That song, I remember I wrote it, I was living in Dublin, and I wrote it, and this song went on some site. It was called River Bee Nation, something like that. And two producers from Sweden heard the song, and they found me on Skype, and they said that this is really good and I should go to Amsterdam dance event and do networking and meet people from the industry. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. But I wasn't really thinking to go. That was back in 2013. But these guys, they were really pushy, and they actually believed that things can work out. So eventually I went there. We met in person, but we didn't really click and things didn't work out with them. But when you get the conference pass, you have access to all the panel and you can schedule your meetings. So I did that in advance, and eventually I met really cool people from the industry. The songs that I had with me, actually, it was my first try in trance music. I did a song with the Indonesian producer LTN. It was called Oceans Away. And at that time, I was just a singer-songwriter. We signed the song to Armada.
And how did that change your feeling about your place in the electronic music industry? Because you said you went to ADE, you weren't sure, and then you got signed to Armada, which is a
Yeah,
huge
and
thing, of course.
the funny thing was his profile was known and mine wasn't, and he was the one who was supposed to pitch the songs to the label, and he couldn't do it. Everybody rejected the song, and then I just sent it and they accepted it, and he's like, I told him we will sign the song to Armada, and he's like, no, we won't. Yes, we will. He didn't believe, and he's like, can you send me that email? I'm like, yeah, sure. And we sign it. How it changed my feeling. At that time, I didn't have any professional education in electronic music. So I was like, oh my God, if I can do that without any lessons, imagine what I can do if I start actually study and taking it more professionally. So this is how everything became. I came back home. I went to Sofia, and there I found a vocal coach. She started to work with me professionally like 2 or 3 times per week to improve my vocal skills. And eventually I released more songs as a vocalist, but still it wasn't enough to get gigs and to play big shows. I even got signed to a Dutch roster as a singer-songwriter, and still it wasn't enough. And then I was watching all these guys, DJs, and they had so many shows touring the world. And I'm like, if these guys can do it, I can do it too. I just need to learn. So I went back home. I signed up to a music academy, which was like a private academy. And then I signed to a production course and then also a DJing course. The DJing course was like 2 months. And I told my mentor, listen, I don't have 2 months. I have 3 weeks. We need to make it in 3 weeks. And he's like, it's impossible. You won't make it in 3 weeks. I'm like, yes, I will, because I'm not like the other people who go to normal job. I'll be just doing this, even if I have to do it 24/7, just this. So I'll pick it up faster. And then we start doing it. I remember we were like doing it on a vinyl. And then we had some lessons on some controller, not even CDJs, like more simple equipment. And eventually I did a set, and this set went online on SoundCloud or wherever. And the owner of one of the biggest trance radios heard my set, and he's like, this is really good. Would you like to be my resident DJ twice a month? I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. So I go back to the school and I say to my mentor, I became a resident DJ. They invited me, and he's like, what? You're not ready yet? I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, no, you're not. You will ruin your reputation, and then it will be really difficult to gain it back. I'm like, don't worry, it will be fine. Trust me. And then I remember for my first episode, I worked 125 hours on this set. I recorded it 125 times. I'm not even joking. It was insane.
That's incredible. But I think that's such an important illustration to people, just how hard you work and the fact that it doesn't come easy. And yeah, that's incredible. Amazing.
And then the episode came, it was live, and I could read the comments on the live chat. And they were like, boom of the day, we look at her picture on Facebook and we expected a kitty and she attacked us like a lion. All the comments were like this. And then the owner actually wrote me, he's like, tell me seriously, did you really do this set yourself? I'm like, don't even question that. You can imagine how many times I recorded it. It was insane. And then with the production, it took longer. I had 2 mentors in that school, and they were both really, really good and very pushy. And, they wanted you to do your homework. Everything was checked properly, really good. But this was like a basic level. And I still learned stuff, and I started doing music on my own. I was getting help from other producers as well, but it wasn't really there yet. And if I listen to my production back then and now, I can hear a big difference. I'm ashamed of some of my old songs.
This is completely natural. If you're not getting better, that's something to be more ashamed of, I would say.
And then I wanted to release music on Anjunabeats very much. I was sending them songs, and all the time rejected. But I already built a connection with them, with the team, and during the pandemic, they invited me to do some live sets for them on YouTube and on Twitch, and they introduced me to the audience. So one girl, she heard my sets and she approached me on Instagram, Nuri, and she asked me if I want to do a collaboration with her. And I'm like, listen, I'm really busy now because I had to do another job during the pandemic. As everything closed, I couldn't do my normal stuff. And I told her I'm really busy, but I have a project, and if you want to hear and if you like it, we can do a track. And she heard it, she liked the project, and we developed our idea. The song was called All Night. And she's like, I'm going to send it to them. And I'm like, they will reject it. But if you want, send it. She's like, no, it's a really good song, I'll send it. And she sent it. In 1 hour, we got a reply. That I remember that day, it was like, this is sick. They signed it and they gave us exclusive contract. And then I was like, what? I can't believe it. And then I knew I really needed to upgrade my game pretty quick because I was getting into the deep water now. That's how I found you. I mean, I was following your channel and I wanted to become a student for a long time, but I remember a few years before that there wasn't a space for me, I think. I remember that.
We get oversubscribed. I mean, we've been able to expand the amount of people we can work with because we now have another coach. But at the time, it was literally just me.
But luckily, this time I entered. It was 2021, and we did the 6 months mentorship with you and with Neil from the States. And to be honest, I say this very, very, very sincerely. It's not like advertisement. These class guys really helped me to upgrade my game, become a better producer and faster. Like now I can do a song in 3 hours. Seriously. And it's...
Well, that's a bow, by the way.
Yeah, because it's very important, time management, especially when being an artist these days, it's not just to go and play songs. You need to produce, you need to promote, you need to plan social media, you need to edit videos. Then the shows that you have to like fly around the world, everything is about time management, and it's really difficult, especially if you don't have a team and you do everything on your own. It's like crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your work ethic is insane, and all the people who get the most from Accelerator or from anything that they do is the ones who really work hard and they want it. And you've definitely always wanted it for sure. But now you have a team, haven't you? Because you're now with Blackhole, aren't you? And they're actually your management team as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Arnie, the owner of Blackhole, is my manager, and I'm extremely grateful and happy that I have him behind my back, because he's one of the best guys in the industry that I met, and he definitely knows how to do this, and he has been in the industry for so long. Mm-hmm. And also his team is amazing. They help me with advice on social media and also on YouTube channel, which is my focus now. I would like to grow and get this silver button at least.
Yeah, we'll put a link below this video as well, because you've had some great growth. Yeah, please do. There's some great music on there and some DJ sets as well. But your growth is, it's really accelerated in the last year or so. Yeah, which is really good to see.
From my side, I don't really feel that I grew much, but like people who follow me for years or my family, they always tell me, you made a big progress. It just takes time. But when you're the person, you want things to become faster and you're impatient and you're like, I'm not doing enough. I have to do more and more and more. So the team is now relax. Everything will work. You're on the right path. Just take your time.
Yeah, I have my wife Mila tells me that as well, because I'm always like more, work, and she's like, sometimes you can just chill out. It's okay. It's working. Just keep being consistent. But a lot of people, I think, give up before they've given it a chance, and the fact that you keep working and you keep being consistent is really one of the main factors that have led to your success at the moment and your continued success way into the future. So there's a lot of respect for that, because you work hard. You've been playing at some pretty incredible venues as well, like the Ministry of Sound in London, one of my favourite venues, and known around the world as one of the best clubs. Can you describe any unforgettable performances? Like, what would you say have been, what one DJ gig you've played that's just stuck with you as like, this is amazing. This is exactly what I signed up for.
Well, I always like to play on islands. So one of my best performances was probably in Mauritius before the pandemic. The venue was insane. It was like sunset. And actually my video for Freya, which is on YouTube, it has footage from that set, and people can see how beautiful the island and the party was. Everybody was on the beach with these little fires in their hands.
Nice.
It was really magical. Just the whole vibe was something different. Then also I've been on 2 tours in India so far, and there the clubs are insane. People really know how to party. By the way, I'm going again, and later on we'll confirm which cities and clubs. So I'm really looking forward. Of course, Ministry of Sound was amazing. As you said, it's one of the best clubs, and it was in my bucket list just to play there. And I was one of the headliners as well. We play in the box, which is the main room. And it was packed. I have the set on YouTube, and I really enjoy that. So my ultimate goal, I want to play Tomorrowland. So I hope one day my dream will become true. This is like my really biggest dream so far in the DJ.
I've got no doubt that it will come true if you keep on the trajectory that you currently are, working as hard as you are. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. So your releases on some prominent labels that we've already touched upon, like Armada, Anjuna, Blackhole, and you've released on Cold Harbor as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your creative process when it comes to creating a track? Do you start with a completely blank DAW project, or do you start with a vocal? How does it usually look?
Well, at the moment, I'm more focused to dance tracks, something that people can dance. Like me personally, I like slower stuff, more like Anjunabeats, this kind. But at the party, I noticed that people like faster where they can dance. So right now I'm listening to a lot of music like this just to get inspiration and following tracks that are really doing well. And I'm trying to study how actually these tracks were made. And normally how I work is like I put a reference track on my Ableton and I kind of follow the vibe and then create my own stuff. And from you, I learned something that really makes it easier. I prepare my template with the chains, with the effects in advance, which helps me. And it's like this. And then I do a lot of takes until I get it right, really.
Yeah, that was something we chatted upon before we started recording this conversation, which is, was it the remix that you did for Richard Durant?
Yeah, I did that, the remix.
And you did it like 21 times before before it was right.
Before my manager approved it, and we're still waiting for Richard to approve it. But yeah, this song was like one of my favorite songs. It's called In Your Hands, and I chose it myself because I wanted to play it at my gigs. And it was really difficult to get it right because in my head I know how I want to sound, but in reality it didn't sound like that.
Yeah.
So I try, and eventually I got it right. And this Saturday I had a gig with the Blackhole in Search of Sunset in Holland, in Tilburg. And I played the remix there and people actually really enjoy it. I have it on video, so I hope we can release it.
Excellent. So again, that just illustrates how hard you work, but how it's not an easy process, because you said some people think that, it just falls in your lap. But that's clearly not how it works.
And especially if you do a remix to an artist which is bigger than you, like Markus Schulz, he's like one of the biggest guys in the industry.
Yeah.
You can really mess around and like not do your best to do the remix just to do it so they can release it. I really want to be good and people to like it and the main artist to approve it. So it's like you have more responsibility rather than do original track and do whatever you like.
Yeah. So with that in mind and these insights that you've shared, what advice would you offer to someone just starting out in production and DJing who really wants to make a career out of this? Are there any 3 bits of advice that you'd really give them?
The biggest advice and one of my mistakes that I didn't do from the start is to trust themselves. Trust yourself, because you really can do it. I always had doubts and I thought other people are better than me. If, for example, they help me, or if they do this and this and this, it will be better, but it's not. And I don't talk because I'm a big head or something, but it's just like from my own experience, because I tried different ways of how to do stuff in the industry, and how to get successful. And it's just hard work. It's not a shortcut. It's not somebody to make your music or to pay, or no, it's not, because this can work like for a short while, maybe a month or two, or a year or two, but in a long run you need to know how to do stuff and to depend on yourself. This is like the best advice I can give. And yes, it takes time, but in the end, the satisfaction that you get from your own work and like hard work, you can compare this with anything else.
And looking back to the beginning, what do you wish you had known then that you now know now?
To be more patient, and again, to study and to work hard, and yeah, just to keep improving. Even now, I still like study, all the time. I'm like watching your videos, some other producer schools, like on YouTube, wherever I find, studying templates, learning different techniques. It's all about improving. This is the key for me.
That was actually part of my next question, which is how important do you think education is in the development of a music producer? Because of course now we've got YouTube, and I mean, for me personally, if something like YouTube was around when I started, it would have made my life like way easier.
That's true, but it's not all only for the music. It's in every field. I think in every field you need education. At least, for example, when I started like professionally trained musician with opera and piano, which was like the foundation of the music education. You learn theory there, you learn how to play instrument, and then eventually you upgrade. And I think it's important. I don't think it will just happen from YouTube videos or templates. You need to know the basic stuff at least.
Apart from playing at Tomorrowland, which is your big goal, have you got any projects lined up for the near future? I know you mentioned doing some work with Christina Novelli. Mm-hmm. And have you got any other collaborations, releases coming up that you want to talk about?
Yeah, we are constantly releasing new music. So far, we have been releasing every 3 weeks, because that way we keep my Spotify statistic high. You need consistency there. And now I'm working on something really big for me, my first artist album, which will be released after the summer. So I'm looking forward for that, and I hope this will open new doors and new opportunities to play bigger shows around the world. One of the collaborations there will be actually with Christina Novelli, and at the moment, this is the track that I'm working on.
So it sounds like you probably got quite a lot on your plate when it comes to releasing an album. I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yes, and also when you release every 3 weeks, it's a bit of, it's kind of stressful, because it's not just making the music, but you need to plan and film content, then edit this content, discuss with the team which is good, which is not good, then properly schedule everything. So that takes a lot of time, and sometimes with the traveling is really, really difficult, but so far we're managing to do the best of it.
Excellent. Well, we've got a few questions from the Accelerator community that I'd like to ask you. So some of your cohorts, really. We've got just a few here. So the first one was from, Gustav, aka Tempest.
Hi, Gustav.
And he says, he asked, he'd love to know how you first started your DJing career and how to take the first leap. But I think the fact that you did that course, the DJing course, sounds like that was probably the first leap. Is that right? Or is there a previous experience?
Yeah, that's the first. I want to be always, not only in music, but in general, I always like to be prepared. So during the course, I bought the DJ equipment as well. First of all, I had like a small controller, very small. It was like 250 euro, and I was playing on it just to practice at home on the computer with Serato. But then later on I was like, oh my god, I never actually touch, or I never play on a CDJs, and all the clubs have CDJs, and I need to be prepared. What if I go there and I don't know the equipment? So eventually I bought a CDJ equipment. This is the one here, you see it?
Yeah, on that very excellent desk.
It came from the UK, the whole setup. So yeah, that's how I practice at home, and sometimes I film sets and put them on YouTube or on Twitch. But again, the education in my case was important, because I could easily go on YouTube and find some DJing videos, but I don't think I would learn the way I learned there, especially playing on vinyl. I had to touch it, and to see it.
Oh, so you learned on vinyl at that school?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yeah. Nice. Yeah, I miss that. I love vinyl. The smell of it, the feel of it. But yeah, you can do a lot more with the CDJs. Okay, so next question is from Rahul. He'd love to know what your first big opportunity in the music industry is and how it came about. But we've also touched upon that. I think it was when you went to ADE and things started opening up then. But he does also ask, he says, have you got any specific actions or strategies you took to get noticed by key industry players? But it sounds like it kind of almost happened by accident, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, I constantly send music, and I most of the time got rejected. In my understanding, they noticed the improvement, and they actually saw that this person is very serious and consistent about it. So I would say just keep trying and trying. And nowadays it's easy to get the contacts of somebody. You just need to go on Instagram and find their emails. It's pretty easy.
So it sounds like the real key there is continually putting music out and taking the rejections, taking the feedback, and then really sending it again, but improved, and being consistent.
Actually, when I get rejected, it actually motivates me more to make it. They're like saying,
nice.
No, I'm like, you will see, I will make it, and push more and more and more.
I love that because that's the opposite of how most people would take that. And is that something that you've trained yourself to feel when you get rejected? Or do you think that's just a core part of your character?
I think it's my character, because I was even like that in school. For example, if I don't get the best grade, I will still push and push and push until I become the best I could.
Yeah.
So it's just me. Well,
brilliant.
For the people around me, it's not very good, because
it might not seem it. It might not seem it to them at the time, but
yes.
Yeah, but it probably will in the long term. And then a question just two more questions from the Accelerator guys. From Rafal says, it would be nice if you could give some advice on what works and what doesn't in case of promoting yourself as a DJ as opposed to a producer.
I would say that the social media is really important. So get your profile professional looking, especially Instagram, because nowadays they follow a lot Instagram, TikTok. Instagram and TikTok I think are the most important, even though I'm not big on TikTok. But they, like, especially promoters, they care how many followers you have, because this automatically turns into how many tickets you can sell, which is important. And then if you have like big following on Spotify, this is really, really important, because there it's all about the music, not about your look or how good the pictures are. Also YouTube. So yeah, I would say work a lot on your social media presence and just keep networking. Even if you do it online, it still helps. Just comment under the post, get engagement, talk to the people, send DMs, just interact with people. This helps, at least for me.
You're not just going to get stumbled upon and found. You're like constantly networking, constantly putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And the last question is from Drew. We've already covered that. He says, I'd love to know what things were like for you when you were first starting out, if you ever felt like you weren't good enough. And if so, how did you overcome those feelings of doubt and continue to motivate yourself? Because we all feel doubt sometimes, especially after, kickbacks or rejections, although it sounds like you don't feel like that. But have you ever had those feelings when you've just thought, I can't do this? And then how did you get through that?
Yes, I had it, and I had moments where I cried a lot and I was really, really down, especially if I read some bad negative comments on social media, because for myself, I know how hard I work, and then somebody writes you, oh, she can't produce, or somebody else is doing her music, or she gets booked because she's pretty, she doesn't have any talent. Even when I was streaming live on Twitch, they were like doubting if I'm live. And I remember that one guy was like, put your shoe on your head. So I took a slipper, I'm at home, I'm with slippers, and I just put it on my head, and they're like, oh, she's live. Yeah, I am. So this was really demotivating. But again, the way I overcome this is just like having very, very supportive family and people around me who actually believe and lift me up. And they always, like, one of them is my cousin. He always tells me from the beginning, he was like, you're better than most of the people. You just need to learn and work harder. You can do it. You can do it. It's not personal. It's like the industry, the way it works. So keep doing your thing and eventually it will happen.
Brilliant. That's very moving. And just from a personal perspective, I can confirm that when you do anything in the public sphere, you get haters and it hurts. And for anyone who thinks that they're going to become prominent in any field really, but especially as a music producer, the bigger you get, the more hate you'll get, but you'll also get more love. It's just the hate's easier to remember.
Even now that I'm releasing music for like 10 years and more, and especially the last few years, it's better music and it's constantly. Now we're releasing every 3 weeks, and the other day I posted a video on YouTube and I read a comment, who is your ghost producer? I'm like, really? Even now? Yeah. What
You'll
else do you want me to do?
Yeah, I think it's mostly envious people or people who just want a reaction, or maybe they've had a bad day, but as your cousin says, you can't take it personally because they literally don't know you.
Yes.
Evidenced by the fact that they've said you've got a ghost producer when you don't. They don't know you. It's
even
hard.
Like I have a friend who is he is following, I know him from music, but he's following me since the start, and then he was laughing the other day and he's like, how much money you should have to be able to afford releases every 3 weeks and all the social media editing and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I should be a millionaire. People don't think clear.
Well, I think the thing with this entrepreneurial journey, which is music production, all of this work at the beginning is unpaid, but then you'll reach an inflection point where you will start getting paid. It's not like a normal job.
Yeah, and it's a lot of investment, equipment, classes, in my case, DJ school, then the production school, all the time templates to learn new techniques and stuff. It's investment. It's like you invest in your knowledge and eventually it will pay off. Hopefully I make a hit and then millions will come, You never know. Because I have friends, like we're friends, and these guys, they did a song and one of the songs got viral on Instagram. They hit more than 50 million views on Spotify, which is amazing. So if they can do it, why not? We can also do it. You never know.
You just got to keep putting the work in and keep releasing and keep getting better. That's the thing when people get these big hits, these overnight successes. It's rare. I don't think there's ever been an overnight success because you don't see the 15 years of work they put in beforehand.
Yes, and most of the time, like proper strategy or planning and, again, investing, but people don't see that.
No, they don't. But people will see you, and I'm going to link to all your socials below this video.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, because I know that a lot of people in the EDM Tips community have been asking for me to interview you because it's been a couple of years since we worked together and they've been seeing your trajectory. So I'm absolutely certain that people are going to get a lot of value from this. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And I hope people will enjoy this interview.
Excellent. All right. Well, see you soon, Zoya. Bye.
You, bye.
Now, as mentioned, Zoya went through our Accelerator program a couple of years ago, and for anyone interested in how it works, it pretty much involves a year's worth of coaching, feedback, a powerful structured curriculum that leaves no stone unturned about the most cutting-edge advanced production techniques, and help in how to get a foot in the industry. If you're interested in that, you can check it out using the link below, and don't forget to check out Zoya's music and her YouTube channel using the link below as well. Thanks for watching the video, and if you did find it useful, please subscribe to the channel, hit like and share it with your friends. Thanks as always. Until next time, cheers and happy producing.